Yeah. So again, we're here to share with each other what we found to work. I'm also going to share what I'm seeing from other practices that's working, things that we're helping clients with too. So yeah, we're here to help each other. Feel free to chime in. Happy to have you on the call here today. So let's talk about how you can win more ACL patients, ideally before surgery, right? We'll talk here a little bit about kind of the workflow and some of the things that we're able to do with online marketing, right, to get in front of patients that have had this injury or know someone that's had this injury. So today we'll just be covering how to be that premier choice for ACL recovery rehab, what patients are really looking for when it comes to that, and how to make your digital marketing more discoverable to ACL patients. And we'll share some examples of what other practices have successfully done. So quickly about me, for those that don't know much about me, but I'm sure a lot of you do that are our clients here. Licensed PT, owned and built a seven-figure PT practice in Boynton Beach, Florida. I exited that with my wife Amy in 2010, who's also a PT, and spent the next 15 years here as a private practice marketing expert, founder and CEO of Practice Promotions. And again, we work with all kinds of clinics from single location practices up to our largest client is over 220 plus location practices. And again, we're the premier PT rehabilitation marketing agency that we help take your marketing to that next level. Right now, working with over 1,200 clinics across the US and Canada. In 2025, we generated 1.2 million leads for those clinics, about a 1.2 billion in new patient lead value in that last year. And with our market to hire, we're able to help clinics hire over 320 plus therapists. So that's super exciting. That was our first year really launching that, and great. We had great to see we had traction with that. And actually, last month we just finalized that, and we got about, I think, 36 new therapists hired for clinics with the market to grow. Quickly, with our market to grow strategy here, we're focusing on growing the clinic, and we're also focusing on marketing to profit the clinic, lowering costs in our marketing costs and patient acquisition costs through clarity, but also focusing how can we attract higher paying patients and get those people into our clinic, like ACL patients. And then market to hire, which is how can we get our clinic visible, especially on Google, for people searching around for new places to work. All right, so getting into our ACL topic here, the challenge is always that surgeon referral lock, right? So the surgeon really controls, that mechanism of if the person goes to the orthopedic surgeon first, they're going to be affiliated with that PT facility that they're affiliated with. If maybe it's in-house, maybe it's someone outpatient that they're really affiliated with. But often before the patient even knows that they have a choice, and often that patient doesn't know that they have a choice. They're just going along with the medical flow. They just kind of assume that they don't really have a choice of where the doctor wants them to go, and they're going to follow along with that. So basically, you lose the patient by the time they're really going to post-op, and the decision is already made. So private PT practices, they don't really have a chance to really reach that person if they're going through that kind of current methodology. But the goal here is how can we get in front of more of these people before they get into that cycle and that kind of first digital experience with them. So really the key thing here is knowing your audience. Like, who are you marketing to? We've got a couple different key audiences here when it comes to ACL rehab. First off is that sports mom, right? And their child has been injured, and they're looking for help and advice, right? So these are about your age 35, 55. They're going to research everything online. They're active on Facebook and Instagram. Their Google searches are for like ACL surgery recover or ACL surgeries or ACL recovery, at 10 o'clock at night, because they're trying to find ways to solve this problem. They're going to trust reviews. They're going to trust testimonials, the local reputation, and they really want that best care for their child, right? And the cost is typically secondary to getting the best care, right? Of course, cost is a factor, but they really want the best outcome for their kid. And they'll actually drive past 3 PT offices for that right one, right? If they know they've heard amazing things about it. And then our other audience is speaking to that younger athlete, right? So kind of our 14 through 24 demographic, could be a little bit older too, depending on where you're at. But your sports, your soccer, your basketball, lacrosse, football, cheer, you name it, right? And they're going to be on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. They're going to care about how fast can I get back to sport, get rid of this pain? How can I speed up my recovery? They're going to be influenced by their coaches and their peers, their teammates, online content. And their question in their head is, will I play again, right? That's their driving fear. And so for them, um, if you can help them understand that prehab before the surgery is going to give them that competitive advantage for after surgery, their recovery time and the way that outcome is going to be, that's a great thing to pitch to that young athlete who's looking online. So roadmap to today is really looking at what do we do from a website and SEO perspective. So condition pages that really rank and convert for ACL, Google Ads, prehab campaigns targeting athletes and parents, email marketing. So this is an opportunity with keeping that network of past patients going so that when something does happen or they know someone that has had an ACL injury, your name comes up. And then the marketing plan of looking at like a 12-month out, because there's certain times of the year when these kind of injuries are going to happen more. Obviously, football season in the fall or lacrosse season here in the spring. So there's lots of, different times of year where you want to have extra pushes from a marketing plan. And then the patient pitch, like what is your pitch to the patient why your clinic beats the surgeon's PT? Like what's the differentiator there about your clinic versus going to a surgeon's office? All right, so first off, let's look at website and SEO strategy here. So we want to have a really good ACL page, right? That's going to help us be our number one SEO asset. That's what's going to rank on Google and AI searches. I'll show you that here in a second. But the condition page is really that dedicated web page for the specific diagnosis or condition. So in this case, that's ACL tears, ACL recovery, and that educates the patient and signals your expertise to Google, right? Of course, as people see it, they're going to come in, they're going to experience that page and go, wow, these people really do have a specialty in helping my child recover from an ACL injury. And so this is why Google loves condition pages. You got to have long tail keywords that patients might use on there. It's going to signal that topical authority and expertise. It's going to increase, the dwell time on that page. The longer that someone's on that page, Google actually sees that and it shows you more. So that's that rich content on there. And then you can also, what's great is, let's say you have affiliations with local sports teams or, like a town soccer league or something like that. If you can have links to those particular pages on those other websites, that's going to give you authority in Google's eyes and it's going to show you more. So here's some things to include, like questions about like what is an ACL tear. So you got like an education type block. You can talk about prehab versus post-op, like what to expect with rehab on that, what person's going to go through. Definitely patient success stories. If you have video testimonials, that's fantastic to put on those pages. And of course, a clear call to action, like schedule a free consultation or schedule a introduction or something like that. Get your questions answered, ask a PT, whatever it may be that you find works for your clinic. And then, of course, having the right link, what they call the URL at the top of the page. So, xyzphysicaltherapy.com/ACL rehabilitation or LCO prehab, knee injury. What you have there helps with being ranked up in Google too. So you want to make sure you name it properly. That typically comes with the title also matching up there and the content throughout it too. All right, so when it comes to being found on local SEO, we want to dominate that ACL search in your market. And so just some, we're going to send you the slide deck afterwards so you can look through it too. But just some keywords that to target here that would be in your copy, right? Or might be in your, part of your titling and things like that. So of course we want to show up like, ACL physical therapy near me. That's a super low hanging fruit. ACL rehab, prehab, knee injury, ACL injury, things like that, right? So there's a lot of different keywords that you can go after. There's things that our team can do to really just look up some of what people are searching for. Typically, though, it's a bit of a challenge because it's not a high volume search. There's not like a huge amount of ACL injuries right in your specific location. So there's not that volume on Google where it tracks it very well. So you have to get a little creative there, but Google does have historical stuff that we can look through too. And then there's quick wins to rank faster. So of course, optimizing your Google business profile, adding ACL services on that is really simple thing to do. Maybe even some imagery around that too you can add on there. Of course, that ACL condition page, site maps, 3 to 5 blog posts are great too. So blogs is a great place that you can put information on too that gives relevance on your website. And then you can get reviews mentioning ACL, sports injury rehab. That's a critical thing that you can really ask for within the clinic. So when you do have ACL patients, really try to get a review from that particular patient and have them mention that they're recovering from an ACL or sports injury in that particular review. When that's up in Google, those are actually keywords in the review itself. And then schema markup, that's basically the structuring of the website page. And then we can build citations on that page, maybe to like WebMD or Health Grades, or if you have affiliates with certain orthopedic groups and they have something on their website at ACL, then that's a great place to put their links on your website. Because guess what? Orthopedic surgeons are businesses too. They like referrals from us. So imagine if we're able to control more of the patients coming to us first, talking about prehab, and then making a recommendation for an orthopedic surgeon, and they get the referral that you sent them. That's super powerful, right? And then of course you can embed Google Maps on your ACL page to make it super local with that too. And that's usually in the footer area that we do for sites anyway. And then we want to make sure the content on those pages are really honed in so that they interest the person and they excite the person to move forward. It's going to convert that person to choosing you as a place to start with their ACL, prehab and then recovery phase. So we want to have that hero section at the top. That's your headline. That's prehab, talking about prehab. Remember, a lot of patients have not heard that terminology before. They don't know what prehab is. You're going to have to educate them a little bit about that. But don't make them scroll down all the way on the page to learn about that. That should be pretty high up there too. And then again, the education block explaining about what happens with ACL tears, the typical recovery. Do I need surgery from this? What is prehab? Like all those kind of questions. And then your process showing you don't want something that's super lengthy. You want to keep it 30,000 foot view, make it, brain dead simple. Like here's our 3-step process to, feeling better, a 4-step process, like evaluation, prehab, surgery, post-op, return to sport, like that's simple, right? It really just shows what the person's going to go through. And then of course, social proof. So, we're always a big proponent of, are you getting enough video within the clinic? Are you getting enough photography within the clinic? Don't put it on you as the owner. Get a tech to do this. Get your therapist to do this. Have like a phone or an iPad within the clinic that anybody can pick up and take a quick video, social proof. Of course, get written consent on that too. But that's what's going to help you show the proof, right? Of course, Google reviews on there too. Make sure you have an FAQ section on there. Like how long does ACL rehab take? Will my insurance cover this? Like all those kind of quick answers that people can get. And then of course that strong call to action, schedule your free ACL evaluation with a form today, right? So that's kind of like your general overview there of what you can do. Here's some examples here of websites. So it's the St. Pete Physical Therapy in St. Petersburg, Florida on the Gulf Coast, and their ACL recovery page. With that, going into, again, keeping things pretty simple, pretty bulleted point. You see the 3-phase ACL program. Anytime you can call something a program or kind of a special offering that you have within your clinic, it's going to make it more that you're the experts in this. So acute phase, rehab phase, return to play phase. And then of course they have some great reviews in here, some visuals with that too. So these guys have done a great job working with us on their ACL page here. So that's St. Pete. Here's Fitness Lab here. They're a very good sports type PT and sports clinic. They're talking about, again, how physical therapy supports ACL recovery, the things that you're going to expect on this, the change in your recovery. And what's cool with this is as you have these dedicated pages, so here's a Google search for ACL injury in Colorado, the Highlands Ranch, Colorado, which is the town or the city that the fitness lab is located in. What we can see here is that in Google's AI overview here, it's talking about, what to expect from ACL and what are the best options for them. So they have their orthopedic and surgical care here, and then they have physical therapy and rehabilitation. And because of the SEO of that whole website plus that dedicated page, it's pulling that content and recommending them first in the AI search, right? So that's exactly what we want to make sure is happening. And then of course down here in the normal searches, you can see here too that that particular ACL page is showing up. And that's why it's so important to have those key pages for conditions that you really want to promote and move forward with. Just some others here. So Smith Physical Therapy and Wellness. Here's their ACL prevention page. So this is going even a little bit further, right? And if you're really trying to get more wellness patients, sports type patients, people don't want to get an ACL injury. So if you have an ACL prevention program, like this is a great page that you could put out there and market to, moms, especially coaches, things like that, where you could talk about your athletic ACL injury prevention programs. And what's great is when you do something that's a little bit more preventative like this, guess what happens when there does become an ACL injury? They think of you first, right? Because you're the expert, you have this preventative program. And if something does happen when they have an ACL injury, they're going to come to you probably first because you're the experts in that.
The top 10% of PT owners aren't just surviving, they're thriving. But what's their secret? Well, Neil Trickett's new Market to Grow book reveals how the top 10% of PT practices leverage marketing systems to simultaneously grow their new patients, attract top talent, and boost profit in their practice. You can learn from their secrets. Visit practicepromotions.net/book to claim your free copy of Market to Grow. Yes, you heard that right. We are shipping a free copy of Market to Grow to all podcast listeners who want it. Just visit practicepromotions.net/book to claim your free book. And now back to the show.
All right, so we talked about the core thing, which is obviously your website page, ACL. Let's talk about some Google Ads strategy here. So the goal is to capture athletes and parents the moment that they search. Remember, something's just happened. They're trying to figure things out. We want to get them in front of them as fast as possible, start to educate them and be that decision before they start to look at what doctor that they're going to need to repair this thing, right? So this is our prehab opportunity. This is where Google Ads can really help you before surgery because Google Ads can give you a greater range of where you're going to show up than SEO alone will. And you can put yourself in manually, basically, or pay to be in these types of searches that you might not just show up for organically with your content. So that's why ads really help you with that. So prehab is, of course, that physical therapy before ACL surgery. And the research shows patients who do prehab recover 30 to 40% faster. And this is a massive underserved search category and your biggest ad opportunity. Right? So 60% of ACL patients are never told prehab exists. 30 to 40% have a faster recovery with prehab before surgery. And you can range anywhere from like $8 to $15 cost per click on some of these searches. So your campaigns that you can run, you definitely want to run like search ads. So if someone is in that knowledge that they've heard of that term ACL prehab, maybe they heard it from their athletic trainer, maybe they heard it from a teammate or another mom or someone who has affiliations with, the medical system. Maybe they've heard of that term ACL prehab. So when they do search it on their phone, you want to be able to pop up with your ad right there at the top. PT before ACL surgery, ACL injury therapist near me, like these kind of terms is what you can be pumped into your campaigns. And then there's other possibilities too, a lot depends on what you want to spend to get someone in the door, right? You can obviously spend a lot. And there's things like display ads that you can have on Google, things like Performance Max, which is more like advertisements, and even on YouTube and things like that. So building your ACL ads campaign, again, this is something that we help you with as our clients. But keyword targeting, so ACL physical therapy, near knee rehab near me, ACL prehab program, things like that is definitely finding out what are people searching for. And then looking at the audience, right? So how far do you want to go out from your clinic? Maybe it's 5 miles, maybe it's 10 miles, maybe it's even bigger. You could even geo-target maybe around sports centers. So if there's like a big facility that's 20 miles away, but there's a lot of athletes and tournaments and stuff that happen there, it might be good to throw up that in your targeting. And then if you're doing any kind of meta, making sure that you have the audiences there, like parents of teens, sports fitness interests, things like that. And then add copy that wins. So ACL prehab, that specific city, get back to sports 40% faster, book your free eval today as your CTS. So there's some examples there of like ad copy that can work. And then landing page, we like to always send it. We've got that page going already, right? That ACL page. So let's really direct people into that particular page. May not be necessary to have a full-on secondary landing page, but make sure that it's set up for that specific page, not just the main page of the website, right? And then budget and bidding. Again, this really depends, but I would definitely start with at least $500. The problem is when you spend too little on a particular ad campaign, Google just doesn't show you enough for you to get traction and for it to learn that well. So you really have to have a very minimal spend of 500. The more that you spend, it starts to incrementally get better. And we want to use maximize conversions for that. And here's an example. Let me see if I got that popped up here. Oh yeah. Okay. So here's like an example of different ads that can be run here. This clinic's getting cost per clicks of like $6, $5 here on these sports injury campaigns. Again, this is sent Pete PT, so we can see what they're roughly spending here for 28 people to that particular page, costing them $183 to get 28 people to that page at $6 a click. So very good click-through rates on those. Again, just realize that it's not a big audience, so you've got to cast a wide enough net and you got to have enough money behind it. Usually you don't have to spend too much on these type of campaigns because there's just not the volume of people there that there are for like back pain or neck pain. That's a much bigger market. So it's okay kind of keeping it typically around that $500 spend. Unless you're in a really big city or sports area where you're getting a ton of these, then you might want to spend a little bit more. All right, so email marketing here. This is where we can leverage our past patients to be our marketing audience for us and our sales audience for us. And they really know us and like us best because they trust us. They've been to us before. Maybe their kids are playing sports. Maybe they have family or friends that have kids that are playing sports. And we know that ACL risk is real. And they probably know somebody who's torn their ACL at some point. And basically, they can be your referral multiplier where they'll share your content. So as long as you're getting consistent content out to your patient list, they're going to have all these interactions in their friend groups and be able to share your content. Yeah, and then we want different email segments to build here. So we could talk about patients that and segment those people that have had sports injuries before and create our own email list around just that particular group. So our knee, ankles, and hips, for example, or parents maybe who brought in children before, or patients that are aged 13 to 15 in certain sports zip codes. We can extract this kind of stuff from from your EMR, and then you have those lists to work with, right? And of course, just some examples. I think I could send this out to you afterwards, but like subject line of ACL season is coming. Is your athlete ready? We helped such and such get back to the field in 6 months. Probably don't want to use the name in that one, but you can make something fictitious like Scott, right? Your child has a choice in physical therapy. So those are some subject lines that you could possibly use. All right, and then with our campaign, you could have possibly if someone opts in on your ACL page, you could give away some kind of link or lead magnet if you wanted to. Typically, we want to just get them to call us and interact. But once they're, what we want is when someone has, say, booked an appointment with us, we want to kick off a sequence with them about ACL specifically. And that would be fantastic to have. So, having that day 1, day 4, day 9, 14, 20, just kind of like what the sequence of different emails can be going out to people, helping them understand again, like what prehab is, why that changes things, what to expect, how are you going to recover faster, how are you going to get back to the sports that you want faster. We can hit these different topics in our email sequences. All right, and then just showing you quickly here in terms of some content and stuff that's going out. Like this is Fitness Lab's newsletter. This one's specific to pre and post op physical therapy. So again, getting into like what to expect before surgery, what to expect afterwards, what's that prehab there, patient testimonials in that. So it really just helps them understand, okay, why is PT so important in this part of it, right? And then here's a blog, for example, very specific to ACL injury. So again, these kind of things can live on your website for years. And then when someone is searching for ACL injury, these actual, not only your ACL injury prevention or recovery page can show up, but these blogs can show up there too, right? And that's just going to give you more eyeballs into your website, and that's what you want. And these blogs and that too are going out email wise to your patients, right? All right, so just kind of looking at a overall marketing plan here, just some examples. So if you're going to launch an ACL campaign, day 1 through 30, kind of we want to build, optimize that ACL condition page, set up the Google Business Profile, a little bit more for ACL, segment past patient email list into those kind of sports email lists. Um, of course, we usually have this. If you're not working with us, something you definitely want to look to make sure you have conversion tracking installed on your website. If you are with us, you know that this is part of what we do. Um, and then work on an email sequence that could go out specific to that campaign too, and they can just kind of run for you, right? And then that next month or so, you can work on Google search ads that are ACL specific keywords. That email list starts to go out there. It can publish 2 ACL blog posts to help you with the SEO. ACL content can be done there on socials. That's a great place to start doing it. And then you can deploy call tracking numbers that are specific to the ACL page so you can track that specifically. And then you can keep optimizing that as you go along with ad performance, A/B test certain kind of headlines. You can send, more of those drip sequences on those emails, request ACL related Google reviews. That's again something you can do internally. And then add new ACL FAQs in your blog posts to improve those search terms. So here's kind of an example of what that could look like throughout the year. Again, we might want to look at certain times of year when we know that they're like, let's say up north, right? You're going to have a heavier hockey season, ice hockey season, right? You're going to have a heavier lacrosse season in the spring. Someone in the south is going to have more of a football season and probably a soccer season, right? So there's these, depends on where you are and what sports are most popular is where you want to put these different pushes and different campaigns. It's good to have stuff going out throughout the year, but there's times when you want to put a bit more budget towards it or a bit more tension or a bit more outflow for that. All right, so things that you can work on now is definitely that website, the condition page, adding live chat or chatbot, we've got that already, and mobile optimizing your ACL pages there because about 60% of searches are done mobile. So that's a key thing to make sure is happening in that specific page. Google Business Profiles here, of course, add the ACL rehabilitation to your services. You can post that twice a month on your Google Business Profile. That's a great thing again in those seasons when you really want to be heavier with that kind of promotion. And then you can turn on messaging in Google Business Profile and respond to every review within 24 hours. That's just a best practice. Social media, you can post 3 times a week minimum, education and social proof. Doesn't have to be all on ACL, but you could have sports injury recovery, and then ACL could be some specific socials in there too. Return to sport video series is an idea that you could run. And a different Facebook and Instagram reels, like what to do in the first 24 hours after an ACL injury, or even after a sports injury, you could put that in there too. And then you can boost your best posts, what you're seeing most people interact with, into different parent groups and that in your particular zip code. So if we look here, there's just a couple of examples of like social posts, about ACL tears, how to recover from that, or the one here about healing ACL tears. So there's different socials examples there that you can send out. All right, so we're getting people interested to our pages and what we're doing. The goal now is to really sell them on why your clinic. And so why should patients choose you over that surgeon's affiliated PT facility? And so there's varying reasons on this, but we got to look at the categories. Like, so how much time is spent with the person? What kind of specializations are there? What is that like PT to patient ratio? People want to know, am I going to get hands-on care or am I going to be in with about 4 other people at the same time? Prehab programs, return to sport testing, scheduled flexibility, insurance. So you can see where your clinic lands and what's your advantages versus some of the orthodox that you might know. But write down those key things, those key selling points. And that just helps you with your copy and your content, even the verbiage, the scripts that your front desk might say to people, so that they're helping to sell why they should come in to see you first before they go see the orthopedic doctor, right? And then educating patients, it's their choice and they don't know it, right? So the most powerful thing you can do is really educate patients that they have a choice, because most never question the surgeon's referral. Again, we want to get to them ideally before they're in that loop. And so on our website, we can have it a little bit, no, you have to say like know your rights, but you can call it something else, right? And so did you know you can choose your own physical therapist is kind of the verbiage that we want. And you can reference any particular state, direct, friendly, explain, direct laws or regulations, or just help them understand that they have a freedom of choice of where they can go for providers with that. And then if you're asking things like, hey, should you be asking your PT after ACL surgery? What are some things you should know about? What are some things you should be asking? Gets people in that frame of mind and they see you as a trusted advisor. And then depending on how aggressive you want to be, or if you have a lot of affiliates, you can either say like, hey, you don't have to go where the surgeon sends you, or you could make it a little bit softer if you want to, if you're trying to keep a lot of relationships with doctors. It just depends on how you want to approach things, but just helping people understand in the email too, like helping you have a choice or helping you before surgery could be great email messaging there. Um, and you could throw that into part of your ads if you have enough space. Usually we're trying to talk about the actual recovery itself and what you're going to get, but you could have a line in there like you can choose where you go for rehab recovery or the prehab side of it too. All right, so this comes back to building your proposition value within your clinic for ACL patients. So, why ACL patients? Well, we specialize in sports injury and ACL rehab. It's what we do best. Why prehab? So again, educating them on that. So starting before surgery dramatically reduces recovery time, and we've seen it hundreds of times, and that's where you would have, ideally results and testimonials about that. And why us versus a surgeon's PT? Might be whatever your differentiator there was, one-on-one care or specialize in that particular area, no tax shortcuts, whatever it may be for you. And then what outcome do we promise, right? So what you're going to help deliver for them. And then again, with like social media, this is where you can reach the moms, the athletes, where they're at. So moms probably more on Facebook, some are on Instagram. You might be varying depending where you are in the country. But these are some ideas for content here in terms of like social, right, from Facebook or Instagram, um, and then on YouTube too. So YouTube is a great place, I think, where you can direct people to have that longer understanding of prehab because we can say so much in terms of the content, but I would say like if you had a really nice website ACL recovery page or prevention page too, and you're talking about prehab, but then you have a YouTube video and you're walking the person through in the clinic of what that looks like, that's going to be very impactful, right? You're going to get a lot of conversions off of that website page because you're explaining that out. And then it also lives on YouTube. So when someone does search into Google, guess what? Google shows those relevant um, YouTube videos up in its searches also. Okay, so I would highly encourage you to look at if you want really looking to do more of an ACL program, prehab program, recovery program, whatever you want to really put into your clinic, map it out where like, okay, what photography are we going to do? What videography are we going to do here around this particular content? What can we educate on? And then use that within all the different tools that you have here. All right, and then I showed you the social examples already. So just quickly coming into like, what do we want to measure here? Well, on our website, we can actually measure how many people are visiting that ACL page. Remember, again, it's not going to be that big of a number compared to the main website page. You got to be kind of realistic about how many people you would expect in a month, just because it's not a huge injury that's going on all the time. And then we can look at conversion rates from forms and fills from those pages and things like that. And of course, emails, you're looking at how many people actually opened it, how many people clicked on it, how many people, came through from the email. Ads, we're looking at we're looking at clicks, but then we're looking at conversions as a form of cost per lead on that. And then certainly business KPIs like, okay, well, let's have a metric of how many ACL patients we're going to get this month into our program and start to measure that. And then, of course, that helps you dial in where things are working in the marketing and what needs to get improved. All right, so 5 mistakes here PT clinics make with their ACL marketing. One is not having that condition page. The other is not sending ad traffic, to that homepage or that specific page. So we want to make sure that we're getting those ads really matched into those ACL pages, which we're treating as our landing pages. Only marketing post-surgery. Again, prehab is a great opportunity. I wouldn't say just for ACL, but like all sports injuries, like educating people on why they need to come and do this prehab, because they're going to get this amazing, much better outcome after surgery, and why it's so vital to do that and not waiting a month between the time of the injury and then getting their surgery and then having to get into recovery and they've had all this muscle wasting. And then not telling patients that they have a choice. So we need to educate them on we're part of this medical flow with them, and that we work with a lot of orthopedic surgeons, but it's important that you come to PT first, and then we work with whatever doctor that you want to go see to have your surgery with. And then no review strategy. So this is just time and time again, all across the board, but especially when it comes to sports injuries, ACL recovery, we got to get really specific reviews for those things that are key programs within your clinic. So Google reviews, video testimonials, awesome things to have there to help us promote. All right, and then as far as working with us, Michelle, Joe, you definitely know us working with our websites, the SEO part, the email marketing, the content marketing, the Google Ads management. Of course, knowing what's working with the reporting and analytics. This is what we do to help you with that. And then for those that are not our clients, we have a free PT marketing kit. So you can get that at practicepromotions.net. So right here, if you go to resources on our website, you can get this free kit direct mail to you with our awesome calendar, 300 social media ideas in that, and also our best cheat sheets from here. And then also for our clients too, if you haven't checked out our resources, we've got tons of great stuff on here for you, free downloads, free ideas. So give it to your marketing director, have them ask for stuff in there too. We'll be happy to send that off to you there. All right, and then for those that are not our clients here already, you can definitely learn more about how we can help you take your practice to new heights. So you can discover our strategy systems and specialists, you can demo our industry-leading PT marketing systems, and then discover a plan that works to achieve your practice growth goals. And you can just sign up right on our website there to get a strategy call with us, and you'll meet with one of our marketing consultants to help you with that. For those of you that are not with us yet, but are thinking about it, we do have a summer special going on here where if you come on to our Ultimate program, we are having that at a $6.99 special. It's our Red Hot Lead special. So if you do come on in June, we do have our first month at only $6.99 to get all that great stuff rocking and rolling for you. And for our current clients, we have a couple of awesome promotions here for upgrades. So we have, if you have not doing our Google Ads with us, we have our Shark Week Google Ad promotion here. So you can get a first month free when adding on Google Ads to your program. Or if you're not on our Ultimate Patient Engagement System plan yet, it's a great time to upgrade to that, because you can get 50% off your website redevelopment, which is really important to do about every 3 years. And then you also get a free photo shoot for your clinic. And then you'll get Google Ads upgrade with that, done for your custom emails, social media, marketing, and newsletters.
A free way for you to support our show is by leaving a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It's a chance for you to tell us what you love about the show, and it helps others discover it as well. Just scroll down to ratings and review on your phone and click write a review. Thanks.